What is up, everyone? Welcome back. I hope you're all doing well in the various different stages of the COVID-19 related pandemic in your individual countries with social distancing and reopenings and isolations and self quarantines and all that stuff. All of you essential workers out there, I hope you are as safe and healthy as you possibly can be. For those of you out there in countries and states that are opening up a little bit through different phases, I hope you are enjoying a bit of that freedom that you are finally being able to regain. And speaking on the topic of freedom, today here in the United States is Memorial Day. It is a yearly day that we celebrate in the US to, I know other countries do as well, to remember all of those men and women who have served our country, our respective countries, and made the ultimate sacrifice for their respective nation. And it's very personal to me as both an Operation Enduring and Operation Iraqi Freedom veteran with multiple tours. So I try to do a video every Memorial Day. The very first person I lost that truly made Memorial Day a very personal experience to me happened in March of 2003. It was a pilot of a unit that I had worked with at the National Training Center, the Desert Warfare Training Center for the U.S. Army in California a year prior. And it was actually prior to my first combat deployment, which I did in 2002. His unit deployed in the supporting the early phases of the invasion of Iraq in 2003 and was subsequently lost. So following that Memorial Day that very year is when it really became personal, because it was the first person that I had a personal relationship with. Really enjoyed the pilot, the officer, great guy, and it's finally when it hit. The very last person I know of that I've lost, that I've known and served with, was in 2011. Well, I guess to say that I've lost in a combat theater and in service in a combat zone. So it's a tough day. You know, I personally think about these people every day. Every one of the individuals that I have known, that I consider the true friends that I've lost, those that I've served with that I've lost. It's an everyday thing. And I know from talking to several people that I've served with, the majority of us feel that way. I don't know matter of fact, I could say I don't know anybody personally who doesn't feel that way. But on Memorial Day, it's different. The whole country celebrates it, and the Band-Aid gets ripped off for a day, where those emotions are so much more raw and so much more powerful than they would be on the average day. You know, the memories, the different thoughts, both of how that individual or individuals were lost, or the more fun, enjoyable memories of them all really come back to me personally in this overwhelming flood of emotions. And it typically starts that weekend. So my content tends to be a little bit light on Memorial Day weekend, because by about that Thursday, I'm so locked into that in my own head that I'm thinking about it. If you served, this video is certainly for you, because we can share our grief that truly never goes away and remember those that we've loved and lost. I've made a playlist this year of tracks that I have used for many, many moons now. Some of them brand new, actually, to help deal with the emotions and to truly make the day better, because music has been such a massive coping mechanism for me over the course of the overwhelming majority of my life. When I really started listening to music, probably about 2 years old, way back when I found my dad's collection of Mannheim Steamroller cassettes. So for as long as I can truly remember, music has been such a massive part of my life, and it's become an incredibly massive coping mechanism for anything that bothers me. And I've got a great playlist here. At least I think it's a great playlist. 5 tracks. I've tried to set it up so it's got a little bit of movement to it. And I'm going to briefly touch on each track. I'm not going to react to it. I'll let you guys go ahead and take a look at it on your own. But Creator's Fallen Brother is such an amazing track. It's the track that leads it off, and it's really powerful on a lot of levels, both for the way the video remembers a lot of the amazing metal musicians we've lost over the years, and those lyrics are just so applicable to anybody who's lost somebody in combat, anybody who's lost somebody in general. It does a very good job of dealing with loss and doing it in a positive, aggressive way that you certainly expect from thrash icons like Creator. The second track in the playlist is Iced Earth, Ghost of Freedom, that comes off of their Horror Show record. It's the only non-horror themed track on the album. I believe this one was released in 2001. And it is one that I have listened to ever since. It really just talks generationally about an individual who lost their father and eventually serves themselves and still feels the ghosts of all of the service members that have passed before them. And it's something I can relate to so very well, because when you put on the uniform, you truly represent every single individual who wore it, served in it, and made the ultimate sacrifice in it before you did. And that kinship with those that will do the same thing after you are done, like I am. It's an amazing track. It's amazing lyrics. It's one of my favorite Matt Barlow vocal performances, and it's just really one that stands out. Next track is Alter Bridges 1 by 1, and it's so easy and hard at the same time to pick an Alter Bridge track, because there are so many phenomenal Alter Bridge tracks that deal with loss. Blackbird is always one that I go to. 1 by 1 stands out because it came off of the Blackbird record, but it was really written for those of us that were serving in Operation Enduring and Iraqi Freedom. And it's absolutely one of my favorite tracks on Blackbird. It's a very, very powerful track, and one that I've listened to in the sandbox as well. The fourth track is Heathen. It's a Hero's Welcome. It comes off of the Evolution of Chaos record from 2009. Another track really written and dedicated to all of those who served. And it's an utterly fantastic track in so many ways. They did a great job with it. And it resonates both having served and for all of those that I've lost. It's heavy, it's impactful, it's got great vocals, it's got fantastic lyrics. And the last one's a little different. The last one comes courtesy of a band who I truly adore in so many ways, and that is Portugal's Blame Zeus and the track White off their most recent 2019 release, Seethe. Having talked to Sandra about her lyric for this track, it's and the video, which the video is amazing. Anybody you that walk with music, I think you'll find enjoyment out of the video. I think they did a great job with it. But lyrically, it's about that love and that bond that you share with the people you truly care about, and that they're with you regardless of where they happen to be. The video is great. You see the band pop up as the young lady is walking with her headphones on in the rain, and that also just ties into the fact that in your memories, in your heart, those people that you've lost that you remember on a day like this are still going to be there. Those thoughts, those happy memories, the sad memories, the memory of actually how they were lost, it's all there. And you can truly find solace in that, knowing that as long as you can remember, they will be with you, because those memories will be with you. I chuckled when I posted a post with this video on my personal Facebook page, which you can certainly hit me up on. And because one of the individuals I lost, one of my pilots in Iraq in 06, who actually didn't die in combat. He died of a heart attack just a couple of months after we got back. But I chuckle because I know that Dick would have had some really interesting and amazing and hilarious things to say about vocalist Sandra, both from a vocal and look standpoint. And I know he would do it in a very vulgar, very verbose way, but being complimentary all the same, because that's just how he was. And I think that's really important. When you think about the people that you have lost, is to remember those great little things about them and what they added to your life and what you love about them, because surely that's what matters the most, is the positive memories. And that has certainly helped me cope with those for so many years. 06, 07 were certainly the hardest for me as far as the amount of people I lost at one point. I was with a U.S. Army National Guard Black Hawk Helicopter Battalion. We were attached to the United States Marine Corps. We were in Anbar Province in Iraq, split between Al-Assad and Al-Taqaddum, which is in different parts of Anbar. Al-Assad's more out towards Syria, and Al-Taqaddum is right smack dab down what used to be called MSR, main supply route Tampa, which that base is located in between Fallujah and Ramadi, going towards Baghdad. So when I was there, it was a very busy, very active area. I spent the majority of my time at Al-Taqaddum, over 8 months of it. And we lost a phenomenal Marine Public Affairs officer, Major McClung. Just incredible person. wonderful person, really genuine, really caring. One of the most outstanding Marine officers I've encountered. Several units we worked with lost people as well, Major McClung being one of them. But some of the Marine aviation units we worked with, hand in hand, lost people. The medevac unit that I worked with right next door, I mean, 100, maybe 100 feet, not 100 feet, maybe 30, 40 meters down the flight line was their little operations area. So we shared the same little bit of a flight line. They lost some people. One of the Marine CH-46 units that I worked with lost an aircraft that was shot down right after we had left Iraq, but we hadn't left theater yet. We hadn't left Kuwait to go back to the States yet. We were still finishing out our out processing and getting our gear shipped out back to the States. And that was terrible. A whole aircraft full of individuals. They were doing a casualty evacuation mission. Then the one that hits so incredibly hard actually happened a couple of weeks before. On 20 January was a flight of National Guard aircraft that had representatives of different National Guard units from different states, as well as some individuals from National Guard Bureau in Virginia. They were flying from Balad to Baghdad, and an aircraft carrying them was shot down in a coordinated attack. Call sign was EZ-40. And that aircraft had one of my mentors that I worked with full time for my unit on board, as well as my former battalion commander who worked at Guard Bureau full time as an aviation officer with the National Guard Bureau. Amazing individual. And amazing individuals, pilot, the crew, as well as the other individuals that were on that aircraft visiting their guard members from their respective units. I had a chance to meet every single one of them when they came to hang out with us for a few hours on a very busy night in, I believe it was late December or early January of 2007. I remember taking some rockets on the base, and they were far enough away that the impact was pretty faint, so we knew that they weren't really anywhere near us. So my buddy and I were sitting there without gear, just kind of with our tops grounded. We're just wearing undershirts, and suddenly the entourage full of high-ranking non-commissioned officers and officers where they've got their body armor on, they've got their helmets on, and we kind of looked at each other and we're like, oh crap, I guess we've got to put our stuff on because they've put their stuff on. So I chuckle about that because they were so worried about it, but where we were taking indirect fire sometimes every day and at least a couple of times a week. So if it wasn't incredibly loud, you didn't feel the ground shake, then it wasn't near you, and we just didn't really worry about it a whole lot. That's just kind of how used to it we became. But it's one of those things. You think about it, you smile, you remember the funny things, the amusing things. I remember how much I learned from my mentor, who, even though I certainly disagree with some of the ways he did things, and I will until my dying day, I certainly learned a lot from him, and a lot of that stuff truly followed me for the last few years that I was in after I worked with him. And it was so hard to go back to working full time for my unit and not be working with him every day. It was really, really difficult. It was also difficult because my unit we were not flying that mission. They were coming from a different place, so it wasn't our aircraft. And it's one of those things that I think about it and go, more than likely, if we were doing that flight, we probably wouldn't have lost them, because we took different precautions. We were a bit more cautious, and we worked differently than the unit that flew them did. It's a cocky thing to say, but at the same time, we flew more than they did. We flew in that area quite a bit, and we did not lose a single aircraft in the year that I was there to ground fire. We lost an aircraft, but it wasn't to getting shot down. So thank you guys. I love you. I know sometimes I do make this channel personal, and the way I look at it, I've busted my butt. I've busted my butt creating videos for 2.5 years, and sometimes it deserves to be personal and reflective. And I hope that surely by doing that, it helps somebody out there going through something similar, that you can feel that comfort that other people are going through the same thing you are, or not the same thing, but similar things, and realize there's certainly a kindred spirit there. So I truly hope that it helps. And to be quite honest, it's very cathartic. I learned a long time ago from a Vietnam veteran I met when I got back from Afghanistan, the same day that I found out that the first individual I knew had been shot down. Certainly in my own head, that he said to never be afraid to talk about your experiences, because if you don't, they will completely consume you. Or I think the words he used were eat you up. But someday I'll tell that story, because it's truly one of the most impactful things I've ever experienced. But I don't want to make this video much longer than it already is. Thank you guys. I love you. Thank you to all of my law enforcement, military, veterans, and first responders out there, as well as those healthcare workers that are truly out there working their butts off in these crazy times right now. To all of those of you, my brothers and sister veterans, who have lost somebody and that it hits you hard today, I am right there with you. I hope you are okay today. I hope you are doing well in your mourning process, whatever process you happen to go through every Memorial Day. Be safe and responsible if and when you decide to put something back. Lord, I'll certainly hoist a beer with you. As always, guys, you have been awesome. I have been Baldman. I'll see you in the next one. Be excellent to each other and keep headbanging.